And then shortly after, the first mission was on May 5th, and the next mission, Mercury 2, was on July 1st.
July 21st
Yeah, sorry,
of
July
1961.
21st of 1961. They also went on the Redstone rocket, and his capsule was called Liberty Bell 7. That was flown by Gus Grissom. He was the engineer of the group, so they figured they'd send him next, see if he could fix anything if anything went wrong.
And he also didn't complete an orbit, it was
Yeah, it was
suborbital.
just the second suborbital flight. And when he came back to Earth uh, and landed in the ocean, uh, the exploding hatch that was suggested to put on there spontaneously exploded and sank the capsule, and giving Gus only seconds to get out of the capsule before it flooded with water. At first, they thought that he blew it himself, but after further investigation, they found out that it just randomly blew. And so, one of the more famous astronauts, first 7 astronauts, went on the third Mercury mission. That was John Glenn. And since he was going to be the first American to orbit Earth, they
He
needed.
completed 3 orbits.
Yeah. He was going to be the first American to orbit Earth. They needed a little more powerful rocket, so they used the Atlas rocket, which was a converted um, military missile. And that mission was on February 20th, 1962. He did 3 orbits, but he was scheduled to do 13. Now, the reason why they cut it to 3 is because they had a warning light on the heat shield. It said that the heat shield was loose. And so, at 3 orbits, they said, we need you to come back down without telling Glenn any of the problems. And so, they told him to keep his, I forgot what it's called, but it's like a booster that got him up there, I guess, on instead of detaching it before he left, hoping that it would keep the heat shield on. And so they descent. I don't know how to say that, but
Descended, I think.
descended, and uh, the heat shield was fine. It didn't fall off or anything. It was just a micro switch that malfunctioned. And so that brings us to Mercury 4, which was flown by Carpenter. It's the last name, that's not the first name. He also flew on Atlas on May 24th, 1992.
62.
1992, yeah, 62. And he also made 3 orbits, and he, yeah, I think that's all he did. Was just another 3 orbits. The Mercury mission was just to see if man could survive in space, because they thought it'd be impossible for men to function in space, that you wouldn't be able to eat or swallow or anything, so they just wanted to do the Mercuries first to see how manned space flight would go.
And he actually didn't re-enter in the right place that he was
Yeah.
supposed to.
He was a little off target, and by a little, I mean 402 kilometers, which isn't the worst. The next Mercury mission was also on the Atlas rocket. Oh yeah, sorry. Going back, John Glenn, had the capsule name of Friendship 7. Carpenter had what was
Aurora.
it? Aurora 7. And our next one was Cygnus 7. And that was on the Atlas rocket. And they just carried out some engineering tests over 6 orbits. And that was on October 3rd, 1962.
Flown by Sherma.
Sherma, yeah. Next one by Cooper, which I think was the first uh, scientist into space, but I could be wrong. And that was on Faith 7 on an Atlas rocket in May 15th, 1963. He was the first American to have a day in space, and that was 22 orbits.
And he was also the last American to orbit the Earth solo.
Yeah.
And that was on the Faith 7.
Faith 7, yeah. And then they had Alan Shepard go up again for Freedom 7 through 11, or 7-11, maybe. But I think the mission was canceled a little before it was supposed to launch. And so that's why Gordon Cooper, I think it was the last American to fly solo into space. And right now, well, I guess not right now, but you're going to see a picture of the 7 rockets.
Okay.
Okay. And I guess that concludes this episode almost.
Yeah.
Almost. Next episode, we'll have it on the Gemini missions and our viewer question of the day, Alan.
Okay, so when you look outside, you'll notice the stars on the horizon seem to twinkle far more than the stars at the zenith. So today's
Zenith
question
being straight up.
So today's question is, why is that?
Comment, subscribe, like, answer the question, put that all below. Thank you and
Thanks.
goodbye.